The Alaska Baseball League standings are about as tight as they come, and the visiting Matsu Miners roll in to Mulcahy Stadium down here in Anchorage to face the Bucs for what is going to be the first of 5 times within the next 6 games for these Matsu Miners, who are in first place, sole possession all by themselves. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the broadcast this early afternoon. Dan Collins alongside Jordan Swick for the first of quite many games down here in Anchorage within the next weekend. Jordan, as mentioned, the standings in the ABL are just about as tight as they come. The Miners are in first place all by themselves, but by the slimmest of margins, as the Bucs, Pilots, and Oilers all tied for second place. The Chinooks are in last, but they're only 2 games out. And the Bucs, Pilots, and Oilers, who are tied for second place, only a game out. So you would imagine that the next 5 or 6 games here and in Anchorage, I'm okay seeing them against the Bucs, as they're all against the Bucs, 0 against the Pilots, and then the one odd game out is a home game actually against the Chinooks. So you can only imagine that this is probably one of the biggest parts of the season here, because you really, really want to try your hardest to make a break. And we've been stressing that all along, to rally some wins together and make some separation between you and everybody else in the standings.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Miners are coming off an off day yesterday, and a pretty good off day if you want to take a look at that way. The Oilers were in first place starting yesterday. They had a doubleheader here against the against the Pilots. My apologies. And they ended up losing both of them. So the Miners and the Oilers were tied yesterday in first place. And then since they lost two, that means the Miners are in sole possession of first place. So a very successful off day, I guess. So we had a pancake breakfast yesterday that half the team went to, and then the other half will go to the next one. But yeah, the standings are pretty tight so far, and every game from here on out is going to be critically important, because a 1 or 2 game swing could put you in last place.
All right, so a little bit of help the Miners got from the Pilots last night, as they bumped the Oilers quite a couple times, and that put the Miners in sole possession of first place by a complete game. We'll see if they can help themselves out here tonight. First pitch and lineups coming up soon. First is going to be the national anthem, and then we're ready to play ball here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Almost ready to play ball here at Mulcahy Stadium as Brody Robinson, left-handed southpaw pitcher for the Bucs, is finishing up his warm-up tosses. And before we give you the stat lines on him, first we'll give you the starting lineup for your Matsu Miners. Leading things off, the center fielder, Brooks Stotler. Batting second, the second baseman, Levi Jordan. Third, it's going to be the first baseman and the slugger, Jake Scudder. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Michael Donadio. Fifth is the shortstop, Josh Bissonette. Batting sixth, the left fielder, Gershon Schwartz. Seventh is the right fielder, Cam Montgomery. Eighth is the brand new catcher making his first start of the year for the Matsu Miners, that being Andy Cosgrove. And batting ninth, rounding out the order, is the man manning the hot corner, A.J. Lee. And as we mentioned on the bump for the Bucs tonight, it is the left-handed pitcher, Brody Robinson, who has no decisions on the year despite his 2 starts. He comes in with a ERA of 4. He's pitched in 9 innings, 11 strikeouts, allowed 5 walks and 10 hits. Both his starts coming against the Chinooks, where the Bucs were victorious by scores of 1-0 and 8-4 respectively, but Robinson yet to go 5 innings. His first start, he went 4 1/3. His second start, he went 4 2/3. So interesting to see how long he could go in this outing against the Miners, as it is the first of 5 games within the next week here in Anchorage, all against the Bucs. So 5 rivalry games within the next 6 coming your way if you're a Miners or a Bucs fan for that matter. And the first pitch here at Mulcahy Stadium, taken for a strike. Stotler showed bunt, brought it back, but it caught the outside part of the plate, says Brad Polk, who is calling balls and strikes behind the plate this afternoon. Stotler going for the bunt again, and it's a beauty, and he's going to lead things off here with a bunt single.
Yeah, good effort there by Brooks Stotler. I was about to mention that yesterday during the Napa Auto Parts postgame show, Ben Taylor was saying that, the key in their win yesterday compared to the loss in the game before against the Oilers was that they played more small ball. They took more they took advantage of each opportunity they did in the last game. So let's look for more small ball here from the Miners as this brings up Levi Jordan.
And so here's the first pitch and foul back. And it's weird there. Stotler showed bunt during that first pitch of the ball game, and neither infield, that being Reynolds at first base or McCarthy Tatum at third, neither of them really moved in much. So Stotler said, hey, I'm going to go on ahead and try that once more. And much to his credit, it worked. As the pitch to Levi Jordan outside, that's going to even the count up at 1-1. And Jordan, I'm going to get this out the way now. You mentioned the very last Napa Auto Parts postgame show we had. You had the luxury of interviewing head coach Ben Taylor. I was not there. I heard he gave you a little bit of slack there for mentioning how the pancake breakfast was quote unquote early.
Oh boy!
As it looks like Stotler's going to get caught in a rundown here. Oh, look
they
at
missed
this!
It.
And they throw the ball away. That was the worst jar of pickles jam I have ever saw.
How does that happen? He missed the tag, and after that, he should have absolutely had to play at second base anyways.
Yeah, so Reynolds was chasing Stotler down to second, and then he tossed the ball over to Trejo. Stotler was making his way back toward first, ducked underneath the tag, then was making his way towards second base, and Trejo threw the ball away. He threw it past the reach of L.J. Hatch, the second baseman. That was just poor execution on the rundown. That's just about as bad as it gets.
But the Miners will definitely take it.
And there was definitely an error on that play. And if my eyesight serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure that was Alan Trejo, the shortstop, who the error should be credited to. And the Miners will definitely take it. And now that puts a runner in scoring position.
And so Levi Jordan, who's up to the plate right now, has the most hits on this Miners team. So this is the guy you definitely want up in this kind of situation. The Miners looking to play from in front early on here today. And the interesting thing about Levi Jordan is he has 14 hits, the most hits on the team in 3 less games than everybody else.
And there you go. This looks like it is going to be no stop sign being put up by Ben Taylor there at third base, and rightfully so. But it is a single by Levi Jordan. Extends his hitting streak to 3. The kid just knows how to hit the heck out of the baseball. We'll tell you that. And that's going to put runners on the corners. Nobody out here in the top of the first inning. Brings up first baseman Jake Scudder, who Jordan has a hitting streak of his own.
Yeah, he has a 4-game hitting streak right now. He has 2 hits in the last 2 games, and in the previous game before that, he has 2 hits against the Chinooks. So he is riding a 4-game hitting streak, looking to make it 5, and potentially doing that in this at bat, giving the Miners an early lead.
And he does lead the Miners in RBIs on the season, that being 8. Total of 8 RBIs and 2 home runs for Jake Scudder, who during that 4-game hitting streak so far that he is currently riding has brought his average all the way up to 293. So seeing and hitting the ball well is the first baseman, Jake Scudder. Throw over to first. Jordan's in safely.
You know, when you take a look at the stats, there's only one Miner who really qualifies for above a 300 hitter, and that's Levi Jordan. But Jake Scudder right there at 293 as well. So he's very capable of getting on base when need to be.
Yeah, the only player who doesn't have enough qualified at-bats that you would be referencing is Jacob Huey, who is 2 for 4 in the season, batting .500. He is in the game tonight, or this evening, rather, but he's the starting pitcher, so won't see any plate appearances from him as Michael Donadio is doing the designated hitting. And speaking of Donadio, he is on deck. Josh Bissonnette, the shortstop, in the hole. Golden opportunity here in the top of the first inning for the Miners, with runners on the corners and nobody out. It's the perfect way you want to start off the ballgame was with a run or 2.
You know, the Miners looking to take the lead here. But if you remember, the Miners had a 5-0 lead at Herman Brothers Field. And they ended up losing that game against these Bucs. It was a game where Steven Sensley hit a grand slam, which was ultimately the difference maker.
Unfortunately, I most definitely do remember that ball game. And if anything, that's even more reason to go on ahead and get a run here, start things off right, because you cannot take anything for granted against any of these teams in the Alaska Baseball League, let alone the Bucs, who definitely played comeback kings last time out at Herman Brothers Field against the Miners, defeating them by a score of 11-8, as that one brought nearly in to the broadcast booth as we have the window slightly open here.
That was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be to us.
Actually, might have got next door to our media manager, Josh Grissom. Hope he's not beheaded. Don't see him typing on his computer. Oh, boy. There's a full count here to Scudder. Taken and foul back. That one got awfully close. I'm not going to lie. Wow. I might have even been able to make a play on it.
There you go.
Unfortunately, I didn't bring my gloves to the ballpark.
I was actually closer to the play than you were, so I probably had even a better chance.
I did wear my hat, though. I can make one of those circus catches with the hat. As the full count and the payoff pitch still to come is... Looks like Robinson is going to try to catch Jordan sleeping there at first, but it's not going to happen. So come on, Scudder. Base hit, ball 4. Robinson's kick and the payoff. Low, and there you have it. So he's going to walk Scudder, and that's going to load up the bases now for Michael Donadio.
So 3 straight runners have been on base. You know, the first couple found their ways on via base hits, but Scudder doing his job there, not getting on via a hit, but rather a walk in this time. And, you know, this is the middle of the order. You got Michael Donadio, who has played really well after getting settled in here.
And I tell you what, that Brooks Stoller rundown is huge right now because instead of bases loaded with nobody out, it would have been runners on first and second and 1 out, which is quite the huge difference. Now you have Donadio at the plate and a mound trip now here by the Bucs coaching staff because he falls behind in the count to Donadio 1-0. And as we mentioned, there's nowhere to put him as the bags are loaded with camouflage jerseys, that being Miners base runners, as they brought out the camos again tonight. They've basically retired the green jerseys for the most part this season.
Essentially, it's a little bit of bad luck after starting the season 0-2.
So allowing to go with the camos again was skipper Ben Taylor.
And I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. A little bit of superstition there. If something, wasn't working for you, you might as well keep riding something that is working for you.
If it's broke, fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. As the count now 2-0 to Michael Donadio. See what he's going to do here at the plate. A little wilder early on. You would love to get in. Never know. Robinson might put one right in the very sweet spot of the strike zone.
Yep.
As he doesn't, Donadio drills this to left. Maltese does have room. He's inching near the warning track. Makes the catch, but that's going to be enough to advance the first run of the ball game home. And Brooks Stotler and Levi Jordan is going to make it to third. So runners on the corners once again with one out here in the top of the first inning at Mulcahy Stadium. And the Matsu Miners lead this ball game by a score of 1-0, thanks to the sac fly off the bat of designated hitter Michael Donadio.
I was going to say right before that pitch that, this would be a decent pitch for Donadio to actually swing at, because he knows he's going to be looking for a fastball, and that's exactly what he got. He had to throw a strike. He didn't want to fall behind 3-0, so instead he spots him with a 2-0 fastball, and Donadio got a pitch to his liking and was able to do something with it. He sent it to the warning track, which was obviously very deep enough for the first run of the game to score, that being Brooks Stotler. So the Miners do have runners on first and third now with only one out.
Yeah, he did drill that pitch deep in opposite field as well, so some pretty good opposite field power, as we've seen that a lot from Michael Donadio already in just his few games with the Miners this season. That one triple that he ripped into the gap, that was in the left center field gap at Herman Brothers Field, and he made it all the way to third. So a good opposite field hitter is Michael Donadio. At least that's what the sample size shows. The 2-1 pitch. Swung on.
That'll get a run.
Grounded. That's Tatum coming in all the way from third, and the ball is dropped by Reynolds. Silas Drayden over there at first base has yet to put up the safe sign.
He's safe, yeah. The first baseman never really had it.
But Levi Jordan is going to come on in to score. Scudder's going to go all the way to third base on that one. And Josh Bissonette reaches first. So runners on the corners once again. Still one out and 2-0 the score here now at Mulcahy Stadium.
You got to think that an error is going to be charged.
Yeah, it looks like they have 3 hits up on the scoreboard and only 1 hit, meaning that they would be crediting Josh Bissonette with a single. And I don't see how an error hasn't popped up yet on the scoreboard, because even if you think he's going to beat that play out with a good throw and it's a single, there still has to be an error that allowed Scudder to go from second to third.
Right, even if the first baseman would have scooped up that ball, it's an out.
Right.
So, but they are giving Bissonette a hit.
So I guess they're going to say Bissonette gets the infield single, and on the infield single, Scudder was just heads up enough to go from second to third without there being an error on the play. Baseball's really seen anything like that before, but okay, that's what we have here at Mulcahy Stadium. Luckily enough, we're not the official scorekeepers for this one, so it's going to work for us. As the thing that matters the most is the 2-0 score there. And now the count full to the number 6 hitter in today's lineup, left fielder Garrison Schwartz. So used to doing these night games, we finally get an early afternoon one.
This is only our second afternoon game, I think.
As this ball chopped over to second, it should be a 4, and
wow,
that ball was bobbled there by Trejo, but they did get the out at second. But because of the bobble, Trejo cannot send it over to first base to Reynolds to pull off the 4-6-3 double play. So it's going to be a fielder's choice, I imagine, with the way they've been kind of lenient on the errors here so far. Should be a fielder's choice RBI for Garrison Schwartz, as Scudder went the last 90 feet he needed to reach home plate. And Josh Bissonette out at second.
So the Miners are playing in front here today. They got to run to score on that fielder's choice. So the Miners have a 3-0 lead here with Cam Montgomery up to bat.
And you can't ask for much more as they took advantage of the opportunity so far. The first 3 base runners for the Miners were the 1-2-3 hitter, Stotler, who got on via a single, Levi Jordan, a single himself, and then Scudder walked, and then thanks to the sac fly and the single apparently by Josh Bissonette and the fielder's choice here, all 3 of those runners scoring. So a 3-0 ball game here this afternoon at Mulcahy Stadium. We did mention that the Bucs can play comeback king, so the more runs, the better. If Cam Montgomery wants to keep things going here, by all means, please do. As the 1-2 pitch is going to be popped up. Reynolds, the first baseman, is underneath it, makes the catch, and that is going to be out number 3 of the inning, but not before the Miners put a crooked number up on that board as they lead it here by a score of 3-0 heading into the bottom of the first inning on your Matsu Miners radio network. So Jacob Huey finishes his warm-up tosses here at Mulcahy Stadium, and we'll give you the starting lineup for the home team, Anchorage Bucs. Leading things off, it's the shortstop, Alan Trejo. Batting second is the second baseman, L.J. Hash. Batting third is Stephen Hensley, the right fielder, who leads the ABL in RBIs. Cleaning up in the order for the Bucs, it's Cody Reynolds, the first baseman. Batting fifth, the center fielder, Brian Harris. Batting sixth is the catcher, Alex Gwinnett. Batting seventh is left fielder Cole Maltese. Batting eighth, the third baseman McCarthy Tatum. And ninth, Logan Stolke, the designated hitter. Did mention Jacob Huey is on the mound this afternoon for the Miners. The count now 2-0 on the leadoff man, Alan Trejo. And Jacob Huey so far this year has done quite well on that bump. As we will give you the official stats here on the left-handed pitcher after this 2-1. And here's the kick and the pitch from Huey. And 2-2 now the count on the leadoff man, Alan Trejo. Huey is 2-0 on the year, has an ERA of .90 in his 10 innings of work, struck out 15, allowed 8 hits and 5 walks. And just like his counterpart this evening, Brody Robinson, both games he has pitched in have been against the Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. Miners victorious in both those ball games, of course, by scores of 4-0 and 7-1, which gives Huey the 2-0 record and an ERA of less than 1. As here's the 2-2 pitch from Huey, and it's outside, so that's going to bring the count full. The defensive alignment for the Miners this afternoon, from left to right in the outfield, Garrison Schwartz, Brooks Stotler, and Cam Montgomery. In the infield at first base, it's Jake Scudder. The hot corner, A.J. Lee, and the double play combination of Levi Jordan and Josh Bissonette. Battery of Jacob Huey and Andy Cosgrove as that pitch popped up. And the second baseman, Levi Jordan, is under it, going to make the play for out number 1. Going to bring up the second baseman, L.J. Hatch.
Now batting from New Mexico State, second baseman number 2, L.J. Hatch.
So Huey's going to get the sign and the pitch here. Taken low for a ball. Mentioned is Brad Polk, the home plate umpire. Silas Drain is at first, and that's Justin Phillips at third base this afternoon. Pitch here by Huey. Swung out and taken right back up the middle for a one-out single here by the second baseman, L.J. Hatch. Something you don't necessarily want to see by these Bucs is they can't get the runs going. That's going to bring up the right fielder, Steven Sensley, who leads the league in both batting average and RBI. He has 12 RBIs on the year, coming in with a .405 batting average. Second is the Miners' very own Levi Jordan, who came into this ballgame with a .389 average, and he did have a single in the first inning, so that's going to bump that average up.
Yeah, this is a dangerous lineup. LJ Hatch, who just got the single, is now on a 7-game hitting streak with that hit. And this brings up Steven Sensley, like you mentioned, partner. He leads the league in batting average and RBIs. And this is a guy you don't really want to mess with a whole lot. And, you can't really pitch around him because Cody Reynolds is right after him, and he's had a pretty good year himself.
7 runs away from being the leader in that Triple Crown race, as it's only him, but the one home run he has on the year, it's Tim Millard of the Chinooks, who have 3. That one home run that Sensley has is a grand slam, of course, coming in a game, that 11-8 victory, comeback of a victory it was against the Miners. Also helped him out, obviously, in the RBI category, as he has 12. Picked up 4 RBIs on that grand salami. As he goes out over to first, and LJ Hatch is back in standing up, but quite a dangerous hitter at the plate right now. That grand slam coming against Gage O'Brien. This time around, it's Jacob Huey on the mound against him, lefty versus lefty, as that pitch finds the inside part of the plate for a strike. Mentioned that is Andy Cosgrove getting the first start of the season for the Miners. He arrived yesterday in Alaska. Met him earlier today. Seemed like quite the gentleman. Nice guy. From Santa Barbara Community College.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a great guy. We saw him before we actually met him before we came here to Anchorage. And, we got to spend a little bit of time with him, introduce ourselves, talk to him for a little bit while he was signing some baseballs in the office. And, no, he's a very nice kid, and we're definitely glad to have him on the team.
And Steven Sensley thought he had ball 4 there. Instead, it's going to be a 3-2 count. You see that a lot here at the Alaska Baseball League, at least this season, this being my first year up here. But a lot of hitters walking toward first base as if they earned the walk. And the home plate umpire saying, "Oh, no, you don't. Come on back. We still got this AB going." Ooh. As that ball drills Sensley.
Look out.
Right by the right shoulder blade.
Originally, I thought that might have caught him in the face. But I think you're right. I think that got him somewhere in the shoulder area.
Yeah, luckily he turned away from that one as he was digging in. And moved out of the way. Turned his body away from it. Couldn't get out of the way, of course, though. As he reaches base for the Bucs, and now this is early trouble here. You don't like to see this. 2 base runners out with less than 2 outs, as there's 1 out in the inning, and it's the cleanup man, first baseman Cody Reynolds, at the plate now. Looks like you jinxed me, partner, as can't believe this. I can't believe this.
I knew you were going to be
I
wrong
can't
one of these
believe
days.
this.
There's no way you knew all the umpires in the league.
Was I a little too confident? So it's Brad Polk behind home plate, Silas Drayden at first, and Marcus Dolan at third base. All right. I said it was Justin Phillips. I was confident that I didn't need the binoculars or any list or anything like that. But when you assume, you know what you do. I can't say it on air, but that is exactly what I did. I assumed that was Justin Phillips.
What movie was that from? The Bad News Bears?
I believe so, and
Huh?
made a bad news broadcaster out of myself. Can never be too sure in this industry. Most I could do is say sorry and carry on. Wouldn't be the first mistake I've made in life. Made many of them. Oh boy. So a mound visit here now as the count falls to 2-0 on the first base cleanup hitter, Cody Reynolds. That's Matt Greeley out with the new catcher, Andy Cosgrove, and now Brad Polk is going to make a walk on out there, tell the boys to break it up. They could talk dinner plans later on.
You know, this brings up the question. We know you got the third base umpire wrong. Are you absolutely sure you got the home and
Yes.
first place umpire right?
Yes.
This isn't just a little bit of cockiness, or
No, it's me just really not wanting to be wrong. For a second or maybe even third time.
So you're praying.
Hey, I still think it's evening time here. It's been a long 2 days.
Well, it still looks like it is at nighttime anyways. Sun doesn't really go down out here.
No, you know, we mentioned last night, though, that it's the darkest we've ever seen it here in Alaska. It was, maybe 2 a.m. at that time, and it was actually dark.
Yeah, it was like pitch black, honestly.
For the first time this year for us Midwesterners.
Which we're used to every single night back at home.
Yeah, a little different here in Alaska, though.
So, yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a, I don't know, I guess welcome home, I guess, even though I'm out here in Alaska, which I feel like I'm at home, though. Everybody's been so nice out here.
It was a little easier to sleep as that pitch swung on and missed. It's going to be strike 2 now. So, okay, after the mound visit by Matt Greeley, 2 straight strikes by the southpaw Jacob Huey. The dimensions here at Mulcahy Stadium, it's 325 down in left field, 410 straight center, and 325 to right. Looks like they have some kind of a flag football convention or some sort behind the left field wall, as there's that turf football field directly behind the outfield in left field, another baseball field or 2 in center and right.
Yeah, we're at a complex here, and the Anchorage Seawolves, the local college, plays their hockey games right next door. I think there's also a minor league hockey team that also plays there.
As that pitch close, but it's going to be ball 3. Huey just off the plate. If that was maybe another inch or 2 toward the outside of the plate, it would have been strike 3. Instead, it's just a full count here on Cody Reynolds. 3-0 the score here in the bottom of the first inning, but the Bucs do have runners on first and second with 1 out. As the runner's going there, and Reynolds is going to foul it off. LJ Hatch, who's at second base, took off immediately, and Steven Sensley with a little bit late of a start. So if that would have been a strikeout, Cosgrove would have had a chance to strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the inning. But luckily for the Bucs, Reynolds fouls that one off, and it's the payoff pitch once again from Huey. Here, steps off the mound. Maybe he didn't like the signs, as now Cosgrove looking back into the dugout, getting the signs.
And, you know, strike him out, throw him out is possible here, as Jacob Huey is 6th in the league in strikeouts with 15. That ties another minor, Justin Vernia, on the team.
Is that ball lifted toward the right field stands? Souvenir. So quite a few pitches thrown already here in the first inning for Jacob Huey. Luckily for him, he does have a 3-0 cushion to start things off here. Here we go in with the High Sox this afternoon. As it looked to second, now the kick and the pitch, and it's going to be ball 4. If that was it would have definitely been a strike him out, throw him out, double play there at third. As Cosgrove fired it down there, AJ Lee applied the tag to LJ Hatch, but doesn't matter because it's ball 4 to Cody Reynolds.
So Huey in a little bit of a jam here. He retired the first batter, Alan Trejo. You got him to fly out to second base, but then 3 straight batters have reached base, kind of like what the Miners did in the first inning.
There's the pitch to Brian Harris, swing and a miss, strike 1.
But he is very capable of getting himself out of jams. After all, he does have a .90 ERA coming into today's game.
This is the center fielder, Brian Harris, at the plate. He has a .283 batting average on the season. Scored 9 times. Earned 10 walks, has 6 RBIs, and a round tripper. 2 doubles and a triple as well on the season. So 4 extra base hits for the Bucs center fielder. So that pitch taken for a strike, and now he falls behind the count here 0-2. Which is perfect for a guy who can do some damage up there at the plate. There's only one batter hitting over 300 for the Bucs, and that is Sensley with the 389 average now. And the 0-2 drill back foul, but LJ Hatch coming in with a 298 average, and Harris 283. Bases loaded here, only 1 out for the Bucs. For some reason, they just like to keep it interesting against us no matter what the score is.
Whenever these teams play, and it's every single year, they play a great series every single time. We mentioned at the beginning of the year when we played the Bucs for the first time that these were the 2 teams in the top of the World Series last year here in the Alaska Baseball League. The Miners won the first game, and that first game wasn't an easy game for the Miners, and then they lost the next 2.
Never a boring event when the Miners face the Bucs. Is that one low for a ball? It's going to be the first ball in this at bat for Harris.
Yeah, you're going to get your money's worth when these 2 teams play. So come on out to the ballpark whenever the Bucs come to town.
Or if you want to make a travel on down to Anchorage to support the Miners, you do have a chance, as 5 of the next 6 games will be down here at Mulcahy Stadium against this Bucs club. As now the count moves to 2-2 on Harris. Once again, a lot of pitches thrown out here in the first inning for Huey. It's almost hard to tell the difference between a Pirates and a Bucs jersey, as they are quite identical. Rocking the black and gold colors as the 2-2 pitch outside. Now it's going to bring the count full. White tops and bottoms for the Bucs. Black pinstripes. Black font with gold trim. Harris going with the High Sox. Black High Sox, that is. It's the catcher, Alex Gwinnett, on deck. Cole Maltese in the hole. And now time called by Harris as he steps out. Looks like he might have gotten something in his eye there. So he picks out whatever it was, steps on back into the batter's box. As we await the 3-2 pitch here in the bottom of the first inning with 1 out. And ball 4, Huey is going to walk in a run. Ooh, not what you like to see there. You always want to make them earn it. If they're going to score, make them earn it. And it's not what happened here. Is the base on balls to Brian Harris, and that's now back-to-back walks allowed by Jacob Huey.
Yeah, if you remember, Jacob Huey had Bryant Harris down in the count 0-2 early on, but he was able to work the count into his favor, and he ultimately ended up getting an RBI walk out of it. So the Bucs have scored 1 run here, but we still have bases loaded with only 1 out. So Huey definitely not out of it yet.
So here's the pitch. Swung on. Scudder has a play there, and yes, it does. A simple little pop-up in foul territory, and Jake Scudder runs it down for out number 2. Whoo! That was much needed.
That was an easy out for Scudder, but it's a much-needed out, like you mentioned, partner. I mean, now it means that the defense can kind of relax. They don't have to bring the infield in, and they don't have to play a double play depth either. They can just go to the easiest space, wherever it is, and make the out. And they could get out of the inning.
This brings up Cole Maltese now, the 7th batter of the inning. The Miners send 7 batters up to the plate in the top half of this inning, posting 3 runs in that top half of the frame. So far, the Bucs here with just the 1. Bases are loaded, though. 2 outs here. And they count 1-0 on the left fielder, Cole Maltese. And that 1-0 pitch taken at the knees for a strike. It's going to even the count at 1. Even out with the set. Low for ball 2, so 2-1. The count now here to Cole Maltese. McCarthy Tatum, the third baseman, awaits on deck for the Bucs. Hopefully his at-bat comes in the bottom of the 2nd inning as opposed to here in the 1st.
It's a 36 first pitch inning for Jacob Huey as of right now.
As that pitch swing and a miss for strike 2. So make that 37 now the pitch count, and that is an awful lot for any inning, let alone the 1st inning of work. So the bullpen might be up and running early on here this afternoon at Mulcahy Stadium for the Miners. When in doubt if that even comes as early as the 3rd or 4th inning. As 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on the scoreboard now. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back. Maltese batting .214 on the season. But he is on a 5-game hitting streak if you include non-conference play. 7 hits in his last 5 ball games. As the 2-2 high. Cosgrove actually having to jump out of his catching stance to catch that one. So the count now full, and once again, there's nowhere to put him. Jacob Huey has allowed back-to-back walks. The last walk, an RBI base on balls for Brian Harris. A ball here would be the 3rd walk in a row and the 2nd straight RBI walk.
The runners are going to have a head start.
And it's the 2nd straight walk for an RBI allowed. 3rd straight overall for Jacob Huey. Check that it was the F3 to Gwinnett in between those walks, but
the last 3 batters to reach, or the last 3 batters that did reach base were via walks. So a lot of free passes is issued up by Jacob Huey right now as he's currently at the 40 pitch mark.
So the Miners score 3 runs in the top of the 1st inning, and what do you know? The Bucs come back with 2 runs of their own. Still just the 1 hit. That was by L.J. Hatch, who was the first run to score here for the Bucs. He led off this round single. Then after that, it was a hit by pitch, walk, out number 2, and then another walk. So 3 walks, a hit batter this inning, and the 1 single.
And the hit by pitch.
4 out of the 5 hitters to reach, all been on some sort of a free pass. And what do you know? If I remember correctly, Jordan, I don't actually like remembering this little fun fact, or sad fact, I guess you could say, but in that 11-8 victory, when the Bucs beat the Miners, that was the talk of the broadcast, was all the free passes allowed to the Bucs.
It might be, but I remember a couple games ago, which is, I think there were a couple games where a lot of free passes were issued.
As the 1-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. But go figure, the Bucs come on back here in the bottom of the first inning and put up a 2 spot, which now the Miners do lead by the slimmest of margins, 3-2, heading into the second inning. Cosgrove, for the first time, is going to bat for the Miners, followed by Lee and Stotler in the top of the second when we come back here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. So here's Andy Cosgrove leading things off here in the top of the second inning for the Miners for the first time this season, his very first plate appearance. Make it one to remember, Andy, as that first pitch taken outside for ball number 1. The Miners put up a 3 spot to lead off this ball game in the first inning as that pitch lifted toward right center field. Sensley is there, makes the grab for out number 1. With 3 runs posted in the top half of the first inning for the Miners, and then the Bucs come right back with 2 runs of their own. So a 3-2 ball game here at Mulcahy Stadium. Going to bring up the third baseman, A.J. Lee, as he shows bunt. Brings it back for ball number 1.
We mentioned Jacob Huey with a 44 first pitch inning. His counterpart, Brody Robinson, has a lot of pitches as well. He has 34 pitches. Granted, he did get out of the first inning with less pitches.
And that's what's going to happen when teams put a crooked number up on that board. Unfortunately for our guy, Jacob Huey, that might lead to an earlier exit that he would like, as you do keep a pretty close eye on those pitch counts here in the Alaska Baseball League.
Yeah, especially in any kind of summer ball, because you definitely want to return them back to their club that they came from in good shape.
And good job there by A.J. Lee as he draws the base on balls, 4 straight balls thrown his direction. He takes every single one of them. So the speedy third baseman aboard, and that's going to bring up the center fielder, Brooks Stotler, who singled and scored the very first run of this ball game back in the first inning. Just inning ago. He was also caught in that weird pickle in which Trejo, as he was trying to apply the tag, as this ball now popped up off the pad of the catcher Gwinnett, and A.J. Lee's going to take second base.
Good awareness there by AJ Lee over at first base. He saw that the pitch was down in the dirt and it got away from catcher Alex Gwinnett. And as soon as he saw that hit the ground, he took off running for second base. And by the time Gwinnett picked up the ball, he had no shot to throw out Lee over at second.
I was mentioning Stadler, who's at the plate, was in a funky rundown as did some kung fu move to escape a tag by Trejo. Then as he was making his way towards second, he would have been out with a good throw, but Trejo throwing it over the glove of second baseman LJ Hatch, and into the outfield it went. So Stadler slid in safely to second, and then around to score. As the count now 2-1, and the second in as many innings. 2-1 lifted foul.
No, it looks like it's going to be a short day for both starting pitchers. At least that's what it looks like here right now. The reason that these pitch counts get up so high is patient hitters at the plate. They work a full count, and you saw that last inning with Jacob Huey. He was ahead in the count 0-2 numerous times, and I think he was up 1-2 as well. And he ended up walking all three of those guys.
So the set, the pitch, high, ball 3.
Patience at the plate is very critical if you want to, starting pitcher out of the game early on.
Patrick Cosgrove led this off with to right field. Nice to see the next two boys up, AJ Lee, in the counts here as this ball. Because after all the first inning by Huey, I'd like him to get a little bit of rest. Heads out there for the bottom half of this frame. As 40-plus pitches thrown by Jacob Huey in that first inning. The lead, he gave up 2 runs. Miners lead by 1 here. Pitch fouled off again by Stadler. Well, there you go.
Yeah, Stadler doing his job working the count as well here. And, both teams are doing a very good job with, being patient at the plate.
As once again, Robinson from the set, the pitch. Inside, ball 4. There you go. So back-to-back walks here now to both A.J. Lee and Brooks Stadler.
It's a third walk issued by Brody Robinson here today. And so Levi Jordan comes to the bat. And, this is one of the best hitters on this Miners club.
He's also battling it out with Sensley in that batting average race in the Alaska Baseball League.
Yeah, they're the top 2 guys. Sensley 1, Levi Jordan number 2.
As here's the pitch from Robinson. Swung on, foul back. Jordan now going to step out of the batter's box, rearrange his gloves a little bit, gives himself a pat on the helmet, tucks it on down, digs back into the turf batting box, as it is a turf infield here in Anchorage and a grass outfield. That pitch taken for a ball. And anytime a pitcher is having trouble locating, such as Robinson, and even Huey for that matter, as a hitter going up there, you do have to be prepared for a little bit of wildness. You also got to be prepared for a mistake cookie, as the 1-1 coming Jordan's way shortly. This one drilled to third base. Tatum is going to step on the bag at third and throw it over to first for a 5-3 double play. And that double play is going to end the inning here. Top of the second inning, that is, for the Miners. So now we go on down to the bottom of the second inning. Stolke, Trejo, and Hatch due up for the Bucs, who trail it by a score of 3-2 here at Mulcahy Stadium on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. The designated hitter, Logan Stokely, is going to lead things off here in the bottom of the second inning for the Anchorage Bucs, who trailed the Miners by a score of 3-2. Jacob Huey on the bump for the Miners. He is going to be looking for a quick inning here, as he will hit the 50 pitch count no matter what this inning. Hopefully he stays below 60 by the time he is done with it. As here's the kick and the pitch by Huey. Bunted and foul back, so 0-2 the count now on Stokely. Huey does have the 2 starts on the year where he picked up the 2 Ws. He went 5 innings in both those contests, so hasn't went past 5 innings this year. We hope he could get to the 5th inning this go around, as he takes a deep breath, and now his delivery to the plate fouled off. 2 strikes now on the designated hitter, Logan Stokely. Alan Trejo, the leadoff man, is on deck for these Anchorage Bucs. As the kick and the pitch from Huey, swung on and missed, strike 3. Cosgrove's going to head on down to A.J. Lee at third. The boys are going to throw it around the horn. Right on back to Jacob Huey. So just the way you want to start this inning off with a strikeout.
So second straight strikeout issued by Jacob Huey, a second of the day as well.
Both those strikeouts coming via a swing and a miss. So here's the pitch now to Alan Trejo. It's going to catch the outside part of the plate for strike number 1. So hopefully, perhaps Jacob Huey settling in now as he's showing the signs of settling in, at least with the last 2 batters. Let's hope that's the case. Is strike 2.
Yeah, he doesn't really fall behind hitters. Last inning was a great inning for the Bucs. They really worked Huey. He was ahead of the count, and then they worked him to foul some pitches off, and the batters ended up being ahead in the count. Well, I guess he can't really be ahead in the count, but a 3-2 count most of the time on pretty much all 3 of those. Well, yeah, all 3 of those walks you had to have a full count on, but yeah, Huey has gone right at hitters. Just these Bucs are very patient.
The 0-2 inside and low for ball number 1. The kick, the 1-2, low for ball 2. So after getting ahead in the count 0-2, Jacob Huey throwing 2 balls now in this AB to even the count up at 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes apiece. And here is the 2-2. Swung on, lifted toward foul territory. The first baseman, Jake Scudder, there now underneath it, makes the catch. That is the second out of the inning. It's going to bring up L.J. Hatch, the second baseman.
So for the second time in as many at-bats for Alan Trejo, he's flying out. So, anytime you can retire the leadoff man, you're doing something right.
Right-handed hitting L.J. Hatch steps up to the plate. He singled and scored last inning. Score is 3-2 here. And still only that 1 hit from the Bucs. That coming off the bat of the man at the plate, A.J. Hatch. As the majority of their base runners that last inning came courtesy of a base on balls. Then Steven Sensley, who is on deck now, the right fielder for the Bucs, was hit by a pitch. So quite a few free passes given up by Huey that first inning, and that's going to come back to bite you. Came back to bite Huey twice that inning, as he surrendered those 2 runs. The count 3-0 here now on L.J. Hatch. And the dangerous Steven Sensley awaits. So you want to go after Hatch as much as possible. And that's not going to happen here. So 4 straight balls. And Huey was close to that 1-2-3 inning, but ends up walking Hatch. And Hatch is going to reach base for the second time in as many plate appearances and as many innings. And the dangerous Steven Sensley now. He's going to step on into the batter's box. The set from Huey, the pitch. Outside, ball number 1. The man at first base, L.J. Hatch, scored the first run for the Bucs. The man at the plate scored the second. L.J. Hatch reached in that first inning on the single. Sensley was hit by the pitch. That pitch outside, 2-0. So 6 straight balls now thrown by Huey after showing the signs of settling in. Now a little shaky once again. And if you want a rebound, it's going to have to be here against Steven Sensley, the league leader in batting average and RBI. Cam Montgomery deep there in right field. Brooks Stoller in straightaway center. A couple steps back of his normal setting as that pitch popped up in the infield. Huey actually calling for it. Now he's waved off by Jake Scudder, and rightfully so, as the first baseman's going to go over there, take control, and get that one for out number 3. Looks on over to Huey as he walks off the mound, tells him, I had that one, big guy. And to the top of the 3rd, Scudder, who just made that last out, Donadio and Bissonette due up for the Miners here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. So Scudder makes the last out of the bottom of the 2nd inning, and he's leading things off here in the top of the 3rd for the Miners, who lead it by a score of 3-2 here in Anchorage against the Bucs. First pitch taken low for ball number 1. Reached on a base on balls back in the 1st inning and came around to score. In field, Brian Harris is out there before he makes the over-the-shoulder catch. Made that look a little harder than it was, perhaps, or perhaps just had a bad read on it.
Kind of a risky play for center fielder Bryant Harris out there. You know, he's running straight back for his right shoulder. Then he does a complete 360 and decides to look over his left shoulder. And in that process, you lose sight of the ball. So it would have been very possible that he could have lost that ball in the sky, and Scudder could have reached base, but good for him, staying with the play all the way.
Designated hitter Michael Donadio now at the plate. He had an RBI sac fly, scoring the first run of the ball game in the 1st inning. That pitch taken low for ball number 3, so the count 3-0 now on Michael Donadio. That one taken on the outside part of the plate for strike number 1. Designated hitter out of St. John's in the Big East. That pitch low for ball number 4, so the base on balls to Michael Donadio. Brody Robinson yet with a 1-2-3 inning here.
That was a quick at-bat for Donadio.
And now it's shortstop Josh Bissonette, who, according to the scoreboard, reached on a single back in the first inning, so we'll take it to help out his batting average. Quite a generous hit awarded to Bissonnette.
Yeah, I would say it was very generous because I think, well, yeah, a great throw would have absolutely got Bissonnette, but that throw was down in the dirt or the turf. So it's a little surprising that they decided to rule that with a hit for him, but good for Bissonnette.
That one lifted towards center. Harris at first took a step back. Now he's going to trot on in and make that catch for the second out of the inning. Both outs this inning. In center field. And it looks like Harris had a bad read on both those outs. As I mentioned, he took a step back before he started to come in to make that grab. But regardless, it is 2 outs.
Did he do it again?
Who? Oh, Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a bad read. You were over here sleeping on me.
I was a little distracted by our media manager coming in.
Have any scoreboard questions for us?
Do I have any?
No, I thought he might have had some
Oh,
scoreboard
him?
questions
Maybe.
for us.
Him, maybe, yeah.
As the media
Guru, as you like
media
to call him.
guru, Jay Grissom, everybody. And the 1-0 pitch coming now to Garrison Schwartz. Taking high. Ball now 2. Runs the count to 2-0. There is one base runner for the Miners. It is the designated hitter Michael Donadio, who reached on a walk. And that ball chopped. Foul. Just foul.
And, you know, there is activity in the Bucs bullpen, surprisingly. It's going to be Angel Landazuri, who we saw back. Was it at home or was it here? Anyways, we did see him earlier on as he is warming up in the bullpen. He pitches at UC Riverside.
As there's the pitch by Robinson. High for ball number 3.
So if trouble continues for the starter Brody Robinson, perhaps we will be seeing Landazuri come into the ballgame.
We did mention earlier on that he is yet, Robinson that is, yet to go 5 innings. There's no decisions on the years. That's now ball number 4 to Garrison Schwartz, the second walk of the inning. And it's going to move Donadio up 90 feet to second base and bring up the right fielder Cam Montgomery, who popped out to Reynolds in the first inning. And Gwinnett going to trot on out to the mound now and talk to Robinson and give that Bucs bullpen a little extra time to warm up. But as I was mentioning, he's yet to go 5 innings. 4 1/3 and 4 2/3. No decisions yet for Robinson on the year. Wonder if this is something he has trouble with often, these high pitch counts. So he apparently has either trouble reaching the 5th or they don't want him going 5.
Well,
I would imagine he just gets himself in a little bit of a high pitch count with the way he's pitching this afternoon.
you know, I can understand that, but he's only at 56 pitches here. But so that kind of surprises me with the bullpen getting loose right now compared to maybe an inning or inning and a half later.
Perhaps he just always has a limited pitch count no matter when he's on the bump. Regardless, the count 1-1 here now on the right fielder, Cam Montgomery. Donadio at second. Schwartz at first. They both walked this inning. It's 1 ball, 1 strike, and 2 outs here. The Miners lead it by a score of 3-2 in the top of the third. And that one sliced towards left center, but it's going to be the center. Check that the left fielder Maltese camping under it, making the catch for out number 3. And that will end the 2-out threat here and take us to the bottom of the third inning with Reynolds, Harris, and Gwinnett due up for the Bucs on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Cody Reynolds leading things off here in the bottom of the third inning for the Anchorage Bucs. The cleanup hitter and first baseman walked in his first plate appearance in the first inning. As first pitch swinging he is, and he's going to pop it up. Left fielder Garrison Schwartz moving in toward the infield, makes the grab for out number 1.
And that's something we want to see from Huey. I mean, we want to see some quick innings out of him. He got Cody Reynolds to swing at a very first pitch and got him to pop out too. I know you can't really control that. You can't really control what the Bucs really swing at. But, I mean, you got to think that he would definitely love to keep his pitch count low so he can stay in and potentially get that W if he goes 5 innings.
Would really like for Huey to earn the win here. He does have the lead. It is by the slimmest of margins, scored 3-2 here. And the kick in the 1-0 from Huey. Outside, ball number 2. Come on, Huey. Come back and get him. Have yourself a quick inning. First pitch swinging and out was Reynolds. Let's come back here, get Harris for out number 2, and move things on along. Swing and a miss there, so count now 2-1.
That's a pitch. I don't know why Bryant Harris is really swinging at. That wasn't really a favorable pitch by any means.
Well, that was inside low, off the turf, actually.
And he threw 2 previous balls, and that was a ball there, so it could have been 3-0, and that could have been ball 4 right there. But regardless, he's ahead in the count 3-1.
Harris earned an RBI the easy way in the first inning. He picked up the first RBI of the game and brought in the first run for the Bucs in that first inning when he drew that walk, and he draws another one here. So Huey faces Harris 2 times this afternoon thus far and walks him both times around. Going to bring up the catcher, Alex Gwinnett, who flew out to Jake Scudder back in the first inning.
That's the 5th walk issued by Jacob Huey.
5 walks and the hit batter as well, so 6 free passes. We're only in the third inning. Luckily for the Miners, the Bucs only have that 1 hit.
Yeah, but they've scored the 2 runs in the bottom half of the first inning on 1 hit, so they did a good job there. And if you remember, that's how the Miners lost the ball game a couple of days ago against the Oilers. We went into extra innings. It was a 0-0 game, and it wasn't Vernia. It was
no, but the Oilers had 2 hits that game and come out winning by a score of 2-1.
Yeah, that was a killer. They didn't get a hit in that inning to score their 2 runs.
No, both runs were, as now it looks like they might have. Yes, they do. They have him picked off here. Good tag there by Josh Bissonette. 1-3-6 on that pickoff. So now no runners on for the Bucs. Beauty. Jacob Beauty has himself a good move. He showed it there. As count 0-1 to Gwinnett. Huey gets the sign, takes a deep breath. The kick delivers inside. Check that. Is he calling strike?
Yes,
All right.
He said he went around. Said Gwinnett definitely was swinging on that.
Yeah, they appealed down there to Marcus Dolan, and he said, yes, he did. We'll take it. Makes the count 0-2 now on Gwinnett. Here's the pitch. Swung on, foul back. As we have the airplane flying over the stadium here in Anchorage. Enjoying a beautiful afternoon. Don't know how I still have my hoodie on.
Well, all of a sudden just got pretty warm here.
Very.
It was at least 10, 15 degrees cooler, 15 minutes ago.
66 degrees here if you want to check your iPhone app down in Anchorage. 66 and cloudy. The forecast here. No gray clouds, however. Maybe just the one. Beautiful day for baseball, is the baseball aficionados like to say. Beautiful day for a lake day, perhaps, when we go back, because we're going to have a little bit of time.
I certainly hope so. It's been a while since we've been on the lake.
That ball chopped towards Bissonette, dives, but off the glove. The ball's going to mow on into left field. Schwartz picks it up, throws it back in. So a 2-out single here by the catcher, Alex Gwinnett. Dang it. He's really hoping for that 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, he desperately needed that 1-2-3 inning, but you know, he is continuing to work, and you know, he hasn't really fallen behind too many hitters in the walks that he did issue.
That ball hit foul by the left fielder, Cole Maltese. Still no activity in the Miners bullpen. Asking you shall receive action now. Look at that.
Set up that first appointment yet?
It's a right-handed hurler down there for the boys.
You check your glasses, man. Clean them off.
Have a bad view from here. Here's the 0-2 pitch. In the dirt, ball number 1. Good job there by Cosgrove to make sure that ball didn't stray too far away from him, because Gwinnett surely would have took first. However, he stays a put. And the 1-2 by Huey. High, ball number 2. Deuces for 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Miners lead it by a score of 3-2 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They posted those 3 runs in the first.
This will be the 75th pitch from Jacob Huey.
And it's fouled on back. Yeah, so you would imagine tops he probably only has, at least at the rate he's going, maybe 1 inning left.
If he retires this batter right here, he might come out for the 4th inning. But I doubt he finishes it.
Yeah, if you can't go 5 this afternoon, you tip your cap to him. As strike 3 there to Cole Maltese to end the inning. His 3rd strikeout of the night, that is, for Huey. It's going to take us to the top of the 4th inning with the Miners leading it by a score of 3-2 here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. So a new pitcher here now for the Bucs. It is Angel Landazurian. For the third time this year, he is 0-1 on the season in his 8.2 innings of work. 7 strikeouts, gave up 10 hits. 9 runs on the season, 7 of them earned. As the Miners faced him back on June 11th, and that 7-1 victory for the boys. Landazuri started that game, only went 3 2/3 innings, as this pitch grounded now toward the second baseman and over to first to retire Andy Cosgrove here to start out the top of the fourth. But Landazuri gave up 6 runs in that game, 5 of which were earned against the Miners, so they are familiar with this right-handed arm. A.J. Lee now, the third baseman up for the Miners, swung on foul back. So only 3 innings of work for Robinson. I can give you the official line on him shortly as that pitch in for a strike. He did give up the 3 hits in his 3 innings of work and those 3 runs. Didn't strike out any batters and allow the 5 walks. And where we stand now, especially if the Miners can add a little bit of padding, he would be in line for the loss. Let's hope that is the case. So Angel Landazuri, partner, you remembered him.
I remember him. I don't remember if we played him here or at home, but I do remember Landazuri.
That pitch swung on and missed. Yeah, that was that 7-1 victory.
I think he started that game, didn't he?
He absolutely did start that game, and that was June 11th. It was the first win of the season for the Miners. It was here in Anchorage. It was their 3rd game of the season. It's a great play made there at shortstop by Alan Trejo, diving toward the hole to make the grab on that one and firing on down to Reynolds for out number 2. And he retired the speedy A.J. Lee, so it was quite the throw from Alan Trejo over there at short.
Alan Trejo had a lot of ground to cover, as you mentioned it, partner. He had to dive to his left. It was right up the middle. And he snagged that ball and got up in just enough time to throw out the speedy A.J. Lee over at first base. So anytime you can, dive for a ball and on the left side of the diamond and still throw out a speedster down the first base line, you're a pretty good defender.
As that pitch taken outside for a strike. Leadoff man Brooks Stotler. He singled in the first and scored, walked in the second, and now he's going to single here in the top of the 4th inning, singles right back up the middle.
Good for him. He singled to begin the game back in the first and then walked in the second. So he's been on base all 3 times today, and we're only in the 4th inning. So definitely nice to see. Brooks Stotler recently inserted into the number into the leadoff spot, that is. I think he played there each of the last 2 games, maybe 1, but ever since he's been inserted there, he's done a pretty good job, to say the least.
That's going to break up the 1-2-3 inning that was close to coming our way here in the top of the 4th. Still no 1-2-3 innings this whole ball game. 3-2 the score. Miners over the Bucs at Mulcahy Stadium so far in the top of the 4th inning. Levi Jordan, the second baseman, at the plate. Dan Collins alongside my broadcast partner Jordan Swick here in the booth, getting a tan as the sun is shining right in our direction.
I was singing the same exact thing.
Did you bring the sunscreen?
I left it at my place.
So you can never be too prepared here in Alaska, where not only do you have to bring a hoodie or some sort of
everywhere you go,
some sort of heavy cover-up wherever you go, because it might just turn cold any minute. You also have to bring the sunscreens. You might be able to catch a tan.
Yeah, you never really know what to expect out of the weather. You can see in the forecast that it's rain all day, but yet it might not rain at all because the mountains will completely change all that. And it could be a perfect day and it could rain.
As the 0-2 on Levi. Ooh, high and outside. He swung at that one. Luckily fouled it back to stay alive here.
So Alaska would not be a place to be the meteorologist if that's what you're at school for and looking to get a job. Because basically you're going to pick your poison. It's a 50-50 chance. Is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain?
I don't know. I think it's perhaps where they cut you a lot of slack, though. Because people don't really expect you to be accurate. That's always the running joke when it comes to weathermen is
So I don't trust the
you
meteorologist.
can't really trust them. Yeah, you don't trust the meteorologist, but if you're up here in Alaska, I would imagine you have to give them a little bit of credit, or slack, I should say, rather.
I'm just thankful I'm not a meteorologist. So
No, luckily we get to broadcast these wonderful Matsu Miners baseball game. The first place Matsu Miners, that is that pitch taken low, ball number 1. 1-2 the count here with 2 outs to Levi Jordan, who wears the number 1 on his jersey. Things got off to a hot start for both teams. 3 runs in the first for the Miners, 2 runs in the Bucs. And then goose eggs after that first inning. Hopefully the goose eggs continues for the Bucs, and the crooked numbers will come alive again on the scoreboard for the Miners as that pitch fouled away toward the first base stands over there. So one of those fans is going to get themselves a souvenir. Typically there are 2 games going on in the Alaska Baseball League per day. The second game is going to be here tonight at Mulcahy Stadium when the Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks head on into Anchorage to face the Pilots. So 2 games today in the Alaska Baseball League, both here in Anchorage. Miners and Bucs, the matinee, Chinooks and Pilots, the nightcap.
that means the Oilers have a day off here today. So basically, I think regardless if the Miners lose or win, they're still in first.
And there goes Stotler, and he'll pick up that stolen base. Good wheels there by Brooks.
Yeah, definitely good wheels there. But I don't really know what the deal was with Alex Gwinnett. He really, did he not know that he was stealing? Because he never got up from the squatting position.
He said, nah, maybe he had a long night like we did last night and just figured, to heck with it. As that pitch drilled in left field. Come on, Stotler. He's getting waved around. Cut off. And that is the 4th run of the ballgame for the Matsu Miners. 4-2 the score here now at Mulcahy Stadium. The second single of the afternoon for Levi Jordan and his first RBI. And anytime Levi Jordan gets on base, you just have to say, go figure. And you know what? Good for him because he ended the second inning with that double play with 2 runners on.
And he capitalizes this time
capitalizes this opportunity, and that's good for him as somebody who's just been working his tail off and been doing excellent for the Miners all season long.
Ever since he got here.
Man, it's been fantastic.
He's really been I would say a great acquisition, but he's been a part of the roster this entire time. He just got up, a few days later than the season started. But, after we started the season 0-2, he's been great.
It's definitely provided a spark. So 4-2 the score here now. Miners over the Bucs. No balls, 2 strikes to the first baseman Jake Scudder with 2 outs, and that's Levi Jordan at first base. Then is there from the set. And Gwinnett was trying to frame that one perfectly. But ball, says Brad Polk. So 1-2 the count now on Scudder. As Gwinnett's going to call for time. Scudder steps on out of the batter's box. And that pitch Grounded on down to Reynolds. He's going to step on the bag at first base, and that's going to end the inning here, but not before the Miners could pick up one more run and add a little bit more cushion now to their lead. And we'll head to the bottom of the fourth inning with the score 4-2 here at Mulcahy Stadium on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. New pitcher here for the Matsu Miners. It is going to be right-hander Gage O'Brien. This is going to be his 7th appearance of the season. Comes in with a 1-1 record and a 7.36 ERA in his 7 1/3 innings of work. He has 8 punch-outs and has allowed 5 walks and 4 hits. And one of the reasons for that 7.36 ERA could be stemmed back to his outing against the Oilers, in which he went 1 inning and gave up 6 runs, all of which were earned. 4 of those 6 runs a grand salami off the bat of the right fielder for the Bucs tonight, Sensley. His last outing was about a week ago. Hey, here's a good song against the Chinooks, where the Miners were victorious by a score of 4-0. He went 1 inning and only surrendered 1 hit in the 3 batters he faced. So on the bump again for the Bucs against these Miners, and that's good. His one blemish so far this summer is against the Bucs. Hopefully he can come back out here this afternoon and perhaps with a couple innings of work, because nobody else warming up in that bullpen, and we are only in the 4th. Unfortunately for Brian, the first batter he saw this inning, McCarthy Tatum, was hit by a pitch. So HBP to start things off. Logan Stokely up now. So he could close the book on Jacob Huey, the starter. He won't pick up a victory tonight as he did in his first 2 outings of the season. He went 3 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. 5 walks, 3 Ks. That one drilled. Pierce and Schwartz in left field. It's off the wall. He can't come up with it. Being waved around home. And he is going to get there as McCarthy Tatum. And Stokey, the designated hitter, reaches with a double. RBI double indeed that is. So trouble a brewing here in the 4th inning as that lead now cut 4-3. Cut once again down to the slimmest of margins. And the leadoff man, Alan Trejo, coming to the plate. He flew out in the first, flew out in the second. Yowzas.
Yeah, it seemed like Garrison Schwartz misplayed that ball off the wall in left field, and that gave the Bucs a little bit extra time to send home McCarthy Tatum at first base. So good job by the Bucs and capitalizing on that miscue.
Ball 1 now to the shortstop, Alan Trejo.
But, you know, how big is that insurance run for the Miners back in the top of the 4th inning? They still thankfully lead this one by a score of 4-3, but a good job by Levi Jordan to get that RBI base knock.
Yeah, for some reason, whenever the Miners score and the Bucs want to come on back and do it themselves, 3 runs posted in the first inning for the Miners, and then in the bottom of the second, Bucs with 2 runs of their own, as that one bunted right in front of Andy Cosgrove there. He's going to throw it away past Levi Jordan there at first base, who came in to cover. Yikes, into right field. And Alan Trejo is going to reach second base, and this ball game is now tied at 4 runs apiece. Oh boy. Still nobody out here in the 4th inning for the Bucs.
I want to think that's an error. It shows an error on the scoreboard, but awaiting the official scores call on this one, you definitely got to think this is an error on catcher
Andy Cosgrove.
the new guy. Forgot his name for a split second. But it seemed like he had to play over at third base, but he really couldn't decide where he wanted to do.
As this pitch now finds the backstop, and Alan Trejo is going to reach third. So things get even worse here now for the Miners, as the go-ahead run 90 feet away and no outs here in the bottom of the 4th. So Gage O'Brien has some work to do. Come on, Gage. Andy Cosgrove now looking toward the dugout for the signs. Gets in his catcher's squat. O'Brien with the 1-0. Swung on toward first base to Scudder. That's going to break his bat. Scudder, the good defenseman that he is, looks Trejo down at third base before he steps on the bag to retire the first out of this inning. So with 3 unassisted if you're scoring at home, and you couldn't have asked necessarily for anything better there, as a broken back ground out to first base for out number 1.
The scoreboard reads that it's a tie game 4-4, but that's not true, right? It's 4-3 Miners. I only figured 3 came home.
No, it is 4, as Tatum and Stokely scored. So if you are looking into the Game Life broadcast on your internet, pay it of no attention. It is a 4-4 ball game here at Mulcahy Stadium. We're all knotted up. And the ever so dangerous Steven Sensley, the right fielder for the Bucs, at the dish. Count 1-0 on him. O'Brien's pitch. Catches the plate for strike number 1. It is Cody Reynolds, the first baseman, on deck. So if O'Brien can get out of this inning with no more damage done, you really got to tip your cap to the young man. As the set, the pitch, outside, ball 2. Sensley was hit by a pitch in the first inning and scored, and he flew out to Jake Scudder back in the second inning, up here now in the 4th. Swings through that one. Yes, he surely did. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes on the right fielder, who leads the league in RBI with 12. 4 of those 12 RBIs coming against the man on the mound right now, Gage O'Brien. Gage O'Brien has the 2-2 count on Sensley. This pitch, though, inside, so it's going to run the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Bucs have played it 2 to tie this game up at 4. And Alan Trejo at third base, he reached on an error from the catcher, Andy Cosgrove. As this ball chopped, Scudder's going to get it, but Gage O'Brien not able to reach first base. So 5-4 the score here now, Mulcahy Stadium. Bucs currently over the Miners. Yikes. We'll get on the official score there, but take it will be a hit.
It is ruled a hit.
So there you have it. They go on ahead and make me the score tonight if they want to, but I'll stick to play-by-play duties as first baseman Cody Reynolds up at the plate now. Ugh. These Bucs, boy, I tell you, they just want to keep coming back. Pitch slapped into left field, right in front of Garrison Schwartz, and now runners on first and second for the Bucs after that single by Cody Reynolds. First and second, only one out here. Going to bring up the center fielder, Brian Harris. The Bucs won their, or check that the Miners won their first game of the year against these Bucs in Anchorage by a score of 7-1. Next time around in Palmer, the Bucs were victorious by that 11-8 score after the Miners came out to an early lead. The Miners come out to an early lead this afternoon against these Anchorage Bucs and have surrendered the lead now by a score of 5-4. And we're in the fourth inning. Pitching coach Matt Greeley and Andy Cosgrove now on the mound to talk to relief pitcher Gage O'Brien, who just came in this inning for starting pitcher Jacob Huey, who was only able to go 3 innings today, giving up 2 hits and 2 runs, both of which earned 5 walks and 3 strikeouts. And game of Frisbee going on there. I wonder if that's ultimate Frisbee being played behind left field. Perhaps I'll step out for an inning and go play some Frisbee, partner.
Gonna leave me all by myself here?
Maybe I'll just tell Grissom. Is that ultimate Frisbee going on? No, not ultimate Frisbee. You have to stop an ultimate Frisbee.
That might be ultimate.
That might be ultimate Frisbee. The ultimate showdown here in Mulcahy Stadium. Bucs currently over the Miners 5-4. 4 runs, 5 hits, and an error for the Miners. 5 runs, 5 hits, and an error for the Bucs.
And partner, there is now activity in the Miners bullpen. And, we've started to wonder. This is a guy who has played in 1 game. Mick Vorhoff is getting loose in the Miners bullpen out there.
There you have it. He had the start against the Oilers in the second game of the season.
We were wondering if we were going to see him in this series.
Mickey Vorhoff warming up in the pen. All right.
He's the only minor pitcher who's been here to only appear in 1 game.
We would surely need him to eat up some innings tonight. Only in the 4th inning here. As the 1-1 strike number 2 now on Brian Harris. Well, Jordan, this is a perfect time here to pick up your favorite inning-ending double play.
It's everybody's favorite, as long as you're on the defensive side.
Also known as the pitcher's best friend. So what do you call the triple play if the best friend is a double play? The side chick? Oh, boy. Not enough sleep for me these past couple of days. I try.
That's a good name, though.
Yeah. The good old 5'6" side chick. As 2-2 the count here on center fielder Brian Harris. The pitch. And here we go through the hole. Levi Jordan knocks it down, but now it's underneath his glove. Coming around to score the 6th run of the ball game is Steven Sensley. And would you look at that? In the blink of an eye, it is a 6-4 game here at Mulcahy Stadium. RBI single awarded to the center fielder, Brian Harris. Going to bring up the catcher, Alex Gwinnett. Mick Vorhoff in the pen for the Miners. And that pitch taken for a strike. That one right back at O'Brien. He throws it over to short, on over to first. So the 1-6-3 inning-ending double play. Woo! There we go. 1-6-3 twin killing to end this, but not before a 4 spot is put up in the bottom of the 4th inning by the Bucs, who now lead it by a score of 6-4, heading into the top of the 5th inning. Donadio, Bissonette, Schwartz due up for the Miners on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. It's time now for the top of the 5th inning here in Mulcahy Stadium. Anchorage Bucs over your Matsu Miners here so far by a score of 6-4. Miners had a 4-2 lead heading into that bottom of the 4th. Then the Bucs posted a 4 spot.
But the Miners bats are going to have to start coming alive here. They've done a pretty good job since the very first inning where they got that 3 spot. And then they got an insurance run in the 4th inning. And that's when Gage O'Brien took over, and it was a pretty rough inning for him.
Silas Drayton, the first base umpire, and Marcus Dolan, the third base umpire, now making their way out to their respective positions. And here comes the first pitch by Angel Landaziri to Michael Donadio, who had his RBI sac fly in the first and a walk in the 3rd inning. And you know what? You said it. Not only would it be a great time for these bats to heat up a little more, but let's have a comeback of our own against these Bucs now. They like to come back against us. Let's come back against them. 2-0 pitch, taken for a strike, 2-1.
And we know these bats are capable of doing so. We defeated the Bucs 7-1. That was our first one of the season, like you mentioned. I think it was last inning, partner. And this is a team that can get its offense going and score multiple runs. And when we hosted the Bucs last time at Herman Brothers Field, the grand slam hit by Steven Sensley kind of put a damper into things. But the Miners did not call it quits, and they came back a little bit, but they still found themselves in defeat by 3 runs.
If there's one thing we've learned so far against the Bucs, the 7 runs that we scored the first time against them, and then 8 the second time, and 4 here so far this afternoon as Donadio goes down swinging to begin the top of the 5th inning here. We could score against the Bucs. Unfortunately, they have showed that they could score against us as well. But if I do the arithmetic correctly, I believe that's so far 19 runs in about 2.5 games against them so far. So it's not a terrible ratio.
No, it's not bad at all. And, this is a team who can also hit very well against the Chinooks. 4-0 against them. This is it's a crazy stat, kind of. It's a little weird because this is a team that can implode in a heartbeat, and this is also a team that can go really cold. They're doing well. They're doing well here today. They have 4 runs, and anytime you're spotted 4 runs, it's a good day at the plate for your team. But they're going to need more now if they want to win this ball game.
They want any chance of. They are going to at least 2 runs to tie it up, 3 more if they would like to keep the Bucs at bay. Into the count now here on the shortstop, Josh Bissonette. It's Garrison Schwartz, the left fielder, on deck, and Cam Montgomery in the hole. Angel Anazari now rocks the pitch, swung on, foul back. For the most part, streaky. I would say the bats have been either very hot or somewhat cold. A little bit in the middle here so far in Mulcahy. Two taken, strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Angel Anazari to start off the top of the 5th. Surely not the type of response you want from the offense after surrendering the lead. But nonetheless, it's Garrison Schwartz up at the plate for the Miners. He can get things going. Schwartz has batted all around Ben Taylor's lineup this season. First, 6th,
Second,
you name it.
I think, was he at number 3? Maybe at the beginning.
Perhaps. Regardless, he could just about do it anywhere. He has a 1-0 count now. Chops this foul. During the pregame show, a point of interest that was discussed was how the standings, 7-5 is the Miners' record, and then they are in sole possession of first place. Behind them, these Anchorage Bucs, the Pilots, and Oilers all tied, a 3-way tie for second place, and they are all just a game back. The Chinooks in last place, they are 2 games back as this one drilled out to right field. It looks like it's going to get over the head of Sensley. Yes, it is, and over the wall indeed. So Garrison Schwartz with a round tripper.
That ball was hit well. I didn't think it had enough to get over that tall fence, but
it sure did.
Give credit to Garrison Schwartz. That's going to be his first home run of the summer, as the Miners have cut their deficit in half. So they now find themselves trailing by a score of 6-5 here.
Garrison Schwartz with the 2-out solo shot. Hit me with it one time. It's going to bring up the right fielder, Cam Montgomery. I saw Sensley giving a chase there. And then over his head it went. All right. This ball chopped towards third. Tatum's going to come up with it, throw it on over to Reynolds there at first to end the inning, but not before the solo shot. We said he could get it done from just about anywhere in the lineup. This afternoon, it's in that 6th hole. A solo home run off the bat of the left fielder out of Grand Canyon University, Garrison Schwartz, and that takes us to the bottom of the 5th inning now. The score is 6-5. Bucs over the Miners on your Matsu Miners radio network. 6-5, Bucs over the Miners here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Garrison Schwartz with a solo shot last inning. This pitch drilled over the head of Stotler there in center field. So first pitch swinging was left fielder Cole Maltese, and he's going to lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th with a double. It's going to bring up the third baseman, McCarthy Tatum, up to the plate. Struck out swinging in the 1st inning, then was hit by a pitch and scored just an inning ago in the 4th. As O'Brien now with the set, the pitch, shows bunt, foul. Jake Scudder over there at first base was all over it as he was gunning in. Scudder at first playing in and on the grass. AJ Lee at the cut of the grass. They are preparing for a bunt by the third baseman McCarthy Tatum. Cole Maltese at second. He let it off with a double. That pitch outside, ball 1. Can't afford to give up any more runs to this Bucs club. They lead it by a score of 6-5 here in Anchorage. 5 of the next 6 games for the Miners, including this one against the Bucs on the road. So hopefully they become the Road Warriors this week.
You know, the Miners do have a winning record on the road, so anytime you can, be above 500 on the road, you're doing things right. And
as there's the bump popped up, Andy Cosgrove running to it, makes the catch. All right.
It's not necessarily an easy play, but Andy Cosgrove doing a great job reading that ball very well as soon as it left the bat, as he ran down the third base line and got there in just enough time to make the nice grab.
It's going to bring up the designated hitter, Logan Stokely. That was a much-needed out there. So instead of laying the bunt down for the out, he just pops it out, which thankfully keeps Cole Maltese at second base. And Dr. K's Pediatric Dentistry is a beautiful, brand new, state-of-the-art dental office in friendly and convenient Palmer, especially designed for children. Your child's comfort and safety is their top priority. Check them out online at matsumoose.com or call 745-KIDS. That's 745-5437. This pitch flied out to Cam Montgomery over there in right, so now 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Cole Maltese still at second base. Going to bring up the leadoff man and shortstop, Alan Trejo, who flew out in the 1st and 2nd inning, reached on an error by Andy Cosgrove and scored back in the 4th. Maltese led off this inning with a double, but then back-to-back outs made by Tatum. He popped out to the catcher, Andy Cosgrove, and Stokely flying out to Montgomery and right. And now the 1-0 count here on the shortstop, Alan Trejo. O'Brien from the set nearly hits the head of Trejo and reaches the backstop. So Maltese is going to take third base, put some 90 feet closer to home. A hit either way would have most likely scored him, but now you just can't afford for any more pass balls or wild pitches.
Yeah, we'll see what that one's ruled. That could go either way, a wild pitch or a pass ball, as O'Brien missed his target.
The 2-0, low, 3-0. LJ Hatch, the second baseman, is on deck. Steven Sensley is in the hole. You do not want him up this inning. He is dangerous, especially when he is locked and loaded. It's that one low, and he is going to walk Alan Trejo. Now runners at the corners for the Bucs, who lead it here at Mulcahy Stadium by a score of 6-5. 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Miners. 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the home team. Bottom of the 5th inning here in Anchorage. Miners got out to a 3-0 lead in the top of the first before they surrendered 2 runs of their own in the bottom half of that inning. Increased their lead to 2. In the 4th is now the runner goes, and Alan Trejo is going to easily get into second base. So runners now at second and third.
Trejo with an amazing jump there. It looked like O'Brien really wasn't paying much attention to him over at first base, considering the fact that Trejo had such a huge head start. And, you could tell that even before that catcher Andy Cosgrove caught the ball, that he would have had no shot over at second base.
Yeah, that was a Ricky Henderson type of jump. As now this ball gets away from Cosgrove, coming in home, and he is out at the plate. Is Cole Maltese. See ya. He's going to give Brad Polk some words at home, but that doesn't matter. It ends the bottom of the 5th inning. Thankfully, the Bucs stay off the scoreboard, and the Miners going to head to the top of the 6th inning, trailing by the slimmest of margins. Cosgrove, Lee, and Stoller do up for the good guys here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network.
Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium, as the Miners are trailing the Bucs by a score of 6-5. As we have a new pitcher on the mound for the home team Anchorage Bucs, as Drew Byer comes on the mound. He is 0-1 this season with a 6 ERA in 9 innings. So the Miners are looking to get to Drew Byer, as Andy Cosgrove comes up for the 3rd time today, 0-2 in his previous at-bats, as I'm now joined by our media manager, Josh Grissom.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. As Bayer is ahead in the count 0-1, as Cosgrove sends us into right field, and that's going to be where Sensley grabs it for the first side of the inning.
It looked like that was just a curveball to Cosgrove, who may have been expecting fastball in that one, got just a little bit too under that pitch, popped it up to right field. Miners have been putting the ball in play quite a bit lately. I know strikeouts were a problem for them earlier this summer, but it seems to be responding well lately.
As this brings up AJ Lee, who looks at a first pitch strike. But the Miners are trailing by a score of 6-5, like we mentioned. Definitely looking to tie up the ball game after they've given up the lead. A 4 spot in the bottom half of the fourth inning for the Anchorage Bucs gave them a 6-4 lead at the time. And then the top of the fifth is where the Miners came right back for one. As this is hit to shortstop, that's going to be Alan Trejo, who throws it over to Reynolds over at first base for the second out of the inning. So this brings up Brooks Stoller, who's been on base all 3 times here today. He got a single back in the first and the fourth inning, and then walked in the second. Definitely great to see from Brooks Stoller, who on the first pitch sends us to the pitcher down the first base line as he just throws it on over to first base, and it's going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning for pitcher Drew Byer and the Anchorage Bucs. So we'll head to the bottom half of the sixth inning, where the Bucs will come to back right here on your Matthew Miners Radio Network. Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium as the Anchorage Bucs come to bat here in the bottom half of the sixth inning, like we mentioned. As this brings up LJ Hatch. LJ Hatch is 1 for 3 today with a single back in the first, as we have a new pitcher on the mound for the Miners. And we'll let you know, as this is ripped right down the first base line, as first base umpire Silas Straden falls down, trying to avoid getting hit by that line drive.
And Jordan, we were talking during the break. This is Vorhoff's first appearance since June 9th. So that is 17 days without an appearance. He started, I believe, the second game against the Peninsula Oilers. It was a 2-0 loss. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs and 5 hits, and recorded 4 strikeouts in that appearance.
So it's been a long time since we last saw Mick Vorhoff on the mound for the Miners, and at that point, the Miners were 0-1, and now they find themselves in first place with a 7-5 record, looking to extend that record with a win here today as we await the 2-2 pitch to LJ Hatch. This is going to be inside, called a ball, as this brings up a full count.
You know, Jordan, I'm wondering if the Miners' depth with the pitching staff may be a reason why we just haven't seen him too often this summer. I mean, we have a number of guys out of the pen with some strong arms, and even now as they're trying to figure out the starting rotation, you know, everybody's getting moved around a bit, and maybe that's why we just haven't seen him this is the second time this summer.
Yeah, it could very well be that, as we have recently got that one's fouled off. But anyways, to help support your point there, Josh, the depth on this team, we've had a lot of pitchers recently come into town, and right away they wanted to get their feet wet and see some action. So that could be a huge reason, as the Miners are still looking for one more pitcher, that being Cody Deason, who's playing for Arizona in the College World Series. So we definitely want to wish him luck during that series against Coastal Carolina.
Kind of the surprise. I don't think many were expecting that matchup in the College World Series.
It's like a Cinderella kind of story for the Coastal Carolina team, as this is hit to third base. A.J. Lee grabs this, throws it on over to Jake Scudder at first base for the first out of the inning. But recently, the Miners, like we mentioned earlier, Andy Cosgrove got into town yesterday, and he's seen his first action here today behind the plate. And Stephen Kolek, one of the pitchers from Texas A&M, actually the only pitcher from Texas A&M on our team now after one was drafted. But anyways, there were different pitchers coming up at various times. Trent Shelton came up late. Kolek, obviously, as this is hit deep into left field. Garrison Schwartz should have room at the very end of the warning track as he comes up with that one. So just enough real estate for Garrison Schwartz to settle under that one. Another couple feet and that one would be out of here. So an F7 is how you score that at home, as Cody Reynolds comes to the plate. We mentioned, I'm sorry, Josh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that was a deep hit ball. Looked like his swing just had a little bit too much of an uppercut to it. Had the power, and if he'd put the right bat plane on it, I could see that getting out of the park. But thankfully, Schwartz able to make the catch there at the edge of the warning track.
As this one's going to be lined down the first base line, but that'll get into the seats. We mentioned Vorhoff on the mound for his first inning of work, and quite a long time. But anyways, that shuts the door on Gage O'Brien, who went 2 innings today, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned, walked 1, and did not strike out a batter. So a kind of rough day for Gage O'Brien. He's had a couple rough outings against the Bucs, back-to-back appearances.
And that was just a tough inning defensively for the Miners. Some miscues as far as throws and communications, couple wild pitches, and the end result is 4 runs for the Anchorage Bucs, and now the Miners needing to play catch-up.
And a little bit of a weird play here is I believe Cosgrove did not touch that ball with his mitt. It must have hit him square in the mask. He was down on the ground for, a brief second, just trying to catch his breath, but it appears he's okay as Ben Taylor is talking to him.
The addition of Cosgrove, I guess, is a welcoming thing for the Miners. Roulette and Wyatt have been trading off on the catcher's position for the past few games, and Roulette had caught, I believe it was, how many straight games for the Miners? 8?
It was like 8 or 9 straight games. But anyways, we get Cody Reynolds to go down on strike. So we'll now head to the top half of the 7th inning, where the Matthew Miners will come to bat on the Matthew Miners Radio Network.
New pitcher on the bump for the Anchorage Bucs. Right-hander Drew Byer coming in, making his 4th appearance. He is 0-1 on the season with a 6.00 ERA. In his 9 innings of work, he has 10 punch-outs, allowed 1 walk, and 13 hits. As looks like Levi Jordan was hit by a pitch there to lead off the inning. So there you have it. As I welcome myself back into the broadcast booth.
I believe that got him on the lower part of his leg.
I think it did, and luckily he just rubbed some fake turf dirt on it and moseyed on into first base was Levi Jordan. So the dreaded leadoff man aboard. And as I welcome myself back into the broadcast, I apologize if I might have confused anybody. It's a new pitcher on the mound for me. This is a 2nd inning of work, but it's still being the Drew Byer. 0-1 of the season once again with that 6.00 ERA. Dan Collins joined alongside media guru Josh Grissom here. Unfortunately, the score not in the Miners' favor, 6-5 in Anchorage. 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Miners. 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Bucs. First baseman Jake Scudder now at the plate. He walked and scored in the first, but is 0 for 2 on the night with a flyout and a ground out to his counterpart, his last at bat in the 4th inning. As that pitch taken for a ball. Good eye there by the Scud man. 1-2 the count on him now.
Tough position, Dan, for the Miners. They have a quick runner on first base, but they have the heart of the lineup up. Not quite sure if they want to take the risk and send him. He does have quite the lead there at first.
As Scudder fouls this off. Donadio is on deck and Bissonette in the hole. And I would imagine that you don't necessarily need to be too aggressive. Maybe if they get 2 outs, perhaps, maybe send Jordan. I'm not sure, though. It is one of those interesting decisions that the manager does have to make. Jordan is getting some pretty good secondary leads over at first base.
You might imagine here with 2 strikes, 2 Scudder, they might send Jordan just because it's that extra bit of time for the catcher to hold a potential strike there at the plate to frame it for the umpire before throwing down.
And Jordan faked as if he was going to go, then came back.
And on top of that, Scudder being a left-handed hitter makes the throw that much more difficult for the catcher.
Especially being the right-handed thrower that Gwinnett is, as most catchers are. There's the pitch, swung on and missed. Strike 3. Jordan stays at bay over at first base, so that's out number 1 here in the top of the 7th inning. Michael Donadio, the designated hitter, coming to the plate. He struck out in his last at-bat in the 5th, walked in the 3rd, and had that sac fly RBI, which played at the first run of the ball game in the 1st inning. As that pitch catches the outside part of the plate for strike number 1.
And there is some action in the Bucs bullpen. Zach Reed of Tennessee is warming up. And also for the Miners, looks like Carlos Vega is starting to get loose in the pen as well. Looks like one of those days, Dan, where bullpen depth is going to be key.
Very, very key for the Miners. Is safe over there at first. A close play. Byer trying to pick Jordan off at first base there. And it would be a big reason for the Miners to show that depth as the starter. Jacob Huey was only able to go 3 innings in his start this afternoon. He gave up 2 hits and 2 runs. Gage O'Brien came in for relief for the Southpaw. And then Mick Vorhoff, last inning, making his 2nd appearance of the year. And that is a fair ball and almost a double play. Donadio out at first base. Reynolds dove to his left, tagged first base. Out was Donadio, fired it down to second, and was a hair shy of doubling up Levi Jordan there at second base. But regardless, Jordan does move into second. And it's going to bring up the shortstop, Josh Bissonette. And this is where it matters the most. A clutch 2-out RBI would certainly be to Ben Taylor's delight. Bissonette is 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Has a single and a strikeout to his name. The set, the pitch, outside. And something about these Bucs the past few games, Josh, you just can't shut them down as they just keep coming back. And that was the case this afternoon and last time out even in Palmer.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that this is a pitcher's league this summer, but between these two teams, whenever they meet up, it seems to be an offensive explosion.
And especially, at least for the Miners, 7 runs that first game against the Bucs. It was the third game of the season, their first victory. They won by a score of 7-1. Lost by a score of 11-8 last time out at Herman Brothers Field. So that was 15 runs posted within those first 2 games. They had 5 here tonight for a total of now 20 and almost 3 games completed against these Bucs. So that's not a bad ratio once you do the math there. However, they are on the verge of losing their second straight to the Bucs if the score holds here. But it is a 3-1 hitters count on Bissonette with 2 outs and a runner at second. The pitch outside, ball 4.
No, he called a strike. I think that surprised just about everybody here.
Wow.
Bissonette was already halfway down to first base.
Well, I guess I will pause from penning down the BB in my scorebook. And now Bissonette is going to have to dig back into the batter's box. And now it's the payoff pitch. Swung on, foul. That was fair. We would have had ourselves a tie ball game here in Anchorage. Instead, it's going to have to be another payoff pitch. Garrison Schwartz on deck. He homered in his last plate appearance, a solo shot back in the 5th. That made a good catch on Steven Sensley last inning for the second out of the inning. Right in front of the wall is strike 3 called. Check that swing in to the shortstop, Josh Bissonette, his second strikeout of the day, and that's going to send us to the bottom half of this inning. Harris, Gwinnett, and Maltese due up for the Bucs, who lead it here by a score of 6-5 on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. So Carlos Vega into pitch now for the Miners. It is going to be the 4th pitcher of the afternoon. And before we get to the numbers on him, close the book on Mick Vorhoff. 1 inning of work. He was perfect. Zeros all across the board, 1K. This is going to be the 6th appearance for Carlos Vega this season. He does have one start, comes in with a record of 1-0 with a 2.70 ERA, 7 strikeouts. He's allowed 8 hits and 6 walks.
Vega's last appearance coming in the team's last game against the Oilers, a 5-3 win. He went 1 2/3 inning, gave up 1 earned run on 2 hits.
And a broken bat. Look out the way. A.J. Lee charging in towards shortstop and throws the ball away. And getting into second base easily is the leadoff man, Brian Harris. So I would guess maybe perhaps an E5 on the play. That's what it is on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you can't really blame A.J. Lee for that one. That was a tough play to make with the half of the bat going almost the same distance with the ball. You don't want to get hit by that. And he was nimble to try and get out of the way of the bat, but it just resulted in an off-the-mark throw to first base.
As now the infield in for the Miners on the bunt. It's a good one. Scudder going to relay it over to Jordan over there, who is covering for the Scud man at first base. Out number 1 this inning, but it moves Harris into third base. So a good sack bunt by the catcher Alex Gwinnett that's going to bring up the left fielder Cole Maltese now to the plate. He has an RBI walk, earned an RBI with a free pass in the first inning, struck out in the third, and then doubled back in the 5th.
The Miners infield playing in, so I'd assume any ground ball to them, they would be looking home first.
And with the 6-5 lead the Bucs have now in the bottom of the 7th, that would be, at least in my opinion, the best strategy for the Miners. We'll see what happens here after the 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Nothing but suspense here in Mulcahy Stadium. Even when the Miners had a lead, going all the way back to their first lead in the first inning, it was 3-0, but the Bucs came back with 2 runs of their own to keep this game close the whole way down. After that 3-2 lead, the Miners were able to extend it to 4-2 in the 4th inning, but then the Bucs went ahead and put up a 4th spot of their own to take the lead, and they haven't looked back since. Garrison Schwartz did cut the lead down to 1 with his solo shot in the 5th. And this ball drilled out to left field to Garrison Schwartz, who's going to make the catch on the warning track, but that's going to easily score Brian Harris from third base. So a little bit of small ball here being played, and the A+ on the execution as Bryant reaches second on what they are calling an E5 here at the ballpark. Then the sack bunt and sack fly to plate the run, and 7-5 here now in Anchorage in the bottom of the 7th inning. Bucs over the Miners. McCarthy Tatum, the third baseman, up at the plate. He sees ball 1.
It'll be interesting. These guys, I believe, face up in 4 of the next 5 matchups for the Miners. You're going deep into the bullpens in this game. I can't imagine what the series is going to look like following the Chinooks game tomorrow night.
As that pitch drilled, foul, and that Chinooks game tomorrow night will be at home. Interesting enough, though, the other games that Grissom was referencing, those are all going to be on the road here in Anchorage versus these Bucs. That Chinooks game breaking up a little bit of the consistency in facing the Bucs. That pitch line foul. Luckily, though, for the Miners, after that Chinooks game tomorrow evening, they have a day off Tuesday before they return to Anchorage Wednesday, and then another day off Thursday. So you have to imagine that helps out a little bit. And if you could get a long, quality start, which during the summer league you would consider at least 6 innings, 6 or 7 would be just enough. Going into that day off on Tuesday, you'll see what happens out here Wednesday night in Anchorage. Then luckily another day off Thursday, but things could get interesting, especially tomorrow evening if the Miners need to use up a couple more arms as they had to do today. The 2-2 swung on. Chopper 2-hopper to Josh Bissonette, who comes up with it over to Scudder at first, and that's going to end the inning, but not before one more run gets plated via small ball tactics by the Bucs. So we're going to head to the top of the 8th inning. The score now 7-5. Bucs currently over the Miners on your Matsu Miners radio network. Gerson Schwartz leading things off in the top of the 8th inning here for the Matsu Miners. If you remember what he did his last time up, then you remember a good one. It was a round tripper off the bat of the outfielder who's playing left field tonight for the Miners. Also gets some starts in right from time to time. Takes a couple of practice swings before we start playing ball here. 7-5 the score. Bucs lead over the Miners as the kick, the pitch, ball one to Gerson Schwartz. This would be the inning to get a rally going, get something, get some runs across the board. Wouldn't mind a pair to tie it. Also wouldn't mind a trio to take the lead or a quartet to make that even more comfortable. Before you get anywhere, you have to start with one. 2-0 the count here to Gerson Schwartz. The pitch, outside, good framework there by Gwinnett. We're going to move the count to 2-1. And the Miners spend their mornings lifting, running, and staying in shape by visiting the Alaska Club. Visit them in Anchorage, Eagle River, Fairbanks, Juneau, and the Matsu Valley. As that pitch drilled all the way into the gap, finds the warning track, and it's going to be a stand-up double for Gerson Schwartz. How about that?
That's exactly what the Miners needed to begin this top half of the 8th inning. you need your leadoff man aboard, and it was something that the Miners were able to do in their last game against the Oilers, and in that victory where they had 7 of their 8 leadoff hitters aboard. And right now, you have a runner in scoring position to lead off the top of the 8th inning. So the Miners currently find themselves trailing by 2. They definitely need shorts to score, and then one other to at least tie it.
And we're going to have a pinch hitter now. Catcher Josh Roulette out to pinch hit for the man who got the start today at catcher, Andy Cosgrove. Check that, Cam Montgomery. He's pinch hitting for Cam Montgomery.
That's
Is Josh Roulette.
So it appears this is strictly just a pinch hit situation. And it looks like either Scooter Bynum or Madison Nickens or Treadwell could come in as a defensive replacement in the bottom of the 8th.
0-1 the count here on the pinch hitter. And freshman All-American Josh Roulette slices that one foul. And it is good to see Roulette up here.
So the last 2.5 days off, or 2.5 games off, if you will.
And if your car needs a new taillight or any sort of nut, bolt, or screw, be sure to visit the Valley's locally owned and operated Napa Auto Parts. They're in Big Lake, Palmer, and Wasilla. Visit www.napaalaska.com. Also, I mentioned how the boys stay fit at the Alaska Club. Give the URL to that one, www.thealaskaclub.com. The pitch to Roulette. High and outside, ball 1. 1-2 the count now on the freshman All-American. It's Garrison Schwartz out there at second, who just when this ball slapped. Garrison is going to be given the green light, and he's going to score easily. Roulette makes a turn, and he's going to get into second base. So back-to-back doubles here for the Matsu Miners to lead off the top of the 8th inning.
And a job well done by catcher Josh Roulette, who's been on the bench all game long, and now he comes in for a pitch hit situation and records a double, an RBI double. And it looks like we might have it. We do have a pinch runner.
Scooter Bynum out to pinch run now, and I would guess, as Jordan predicted, it is going to be either the Scooter Bynum or Madison Nickens coming out to be the defensive replacement. I would guess with Scooter Bynum being the pinch runner now, you don't necessarily want to use up all your chess pieces. So I'd imagine Scooter will stay in the game in right field, or perhaps he would move to left field where he typically is, and Garrison Schwartz would move over to right where he is a little more accustomed to. Regardless, we'll keep you updated on that when the time comes. We're still busy batting here in the top of the 8th inning. Deficit once again cut to 1, and there's the bunt shown by Cosgrove. It's good enough to get the speedy Bynum to third, and there's the out at first.
We mentioned head coach Ben Taylor is a huge fan of the small balls. He has done that a lot this season, and it pays off there. He gets the job done. The tying run now over at third base with 1 out. So AJ Lee coming up to the plate, looking to bring home Scooter Bynum, who does have some speed over at third base. So you got to think that anything hit to the outfield on a fly could potentially end up scoring Scooter Bynum.
So the suspense thickens here. First pitch to AJ Lee, taken first strike. Scooter Bynum, the tying run at third base. AJ Lee at the bat. 1 out here in the top of the 8th inning. The pitch, grounded in the infield. They're going to go home. Scooter is out at the plate. Looked like he was probably running on contact, pushed the envelope a little bit there, and was thrown out by Trejo, the shortstop. It's going to bring up Brooks Stotler. So AJ Lee is going to reach on that fielder's choice. It is the speedy AJ Lee over at first, and they do pitch out. It was a bad one.
It almost came in across the plate.
Yeah, it was low and right over the plate. Well, okay then. But AJ Lee does possess speed, as I was going to say, so I wouldn't mind him pushing the envelope here and trying to steal second.
Well, Miners need somebody in scoring position now. As you know, you could say that Bynum was running on first contact, but at the same time, you're giving away an out that you have to make sure that gets through, and it didn't. So, and now you get your runner out at third base. So now you have to work a little bit harder to get that tying run across the plate, since there's now a runner essentially that moved from third to first.
There could be a runner, though, in scoring position if one more ball is thrown Brooks Stotler's direction, because he does have the 3-0 count. This one does catch the plate. Strike one. 3-1 the count on Stotler. AJ Lee does possess a tremendous amount of speed, so if that ball is hitting the gap somewhere, there's a slight one in right center field. Perhaps we'll get the green light. Swing and a miss for strike two on Stotler. So a full count with 2 outs here. Back-to-back doubles to lead things off by Garrison Schwartz and pinch hitter Josh Roulette. Cut the lead to 1. That pitch outside, ball 4. Good eye there by Brooks Stotler. As that one just missed the outside part of the strike zone. And Stotler is going to reach for the 4th time today.
And that's big, because that moves AJ Lee into scoring position. So a hit somewhere into the outfield could potentially end up scoring AJ Lee, and that is the tying run over at second base. So it's a very important runner over at second base for the Miners.
The Bucs currently lead 7-6 here in the top of the 8th inning. Runners on first and second with 2 outs for the Miners, and Levi Jordan due up to the plate after this pitching change here. We'll tell you all about the new pitcher coming in for the Bucs as soon as we come back from a quick break on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Chris Rivera, the new pitcher in now for the Anchorage Bucs, making his 4th appearance of the season. He has a 3.37 ERA, no record, and in his 5.1 innings pitched, he has a strikeout, giving up no walks and 5 hits. And as Jordan will tell you, he knows a couple members on this Miners club. One of them is at first base, Brooks Stotler.
Yeah, he just missed his teammate over there, Brooks Stotler at first base. A pitching change earlier. Could have been an interesting battle.
Yes, Stotler, Rivera, and Jacob Huey, this afternoon's starter for the Miners, all collegiate teammates. And the runners on first and second, Daniel Bees is responsible for them as he was able to get 2/3 inning of relief during this frame, gave it the 2 hits, 1 walk, and 1 run so far. Levi Jordan at the plate for the Miners. The 0-1. Low, ball 1. So count 1-1. AJ Lee is on second. Brooks Stadler at first. Seven-six lead the Bucs have. A hit should surely cut that. That pitch inside for ball 2. 2-1 the count now on Levi Jordan. And summer is the perfect opportunity to work on your golf game. The Palmer Golf Course is located in the heart of Palmer, just about 2 miles from Herman Brothers Field. Call 907-745-4653 for more information on the Palmer Golf Course. The set, 2-1. Popped up. Gwinnett might have a play on it. He does, and that is going to end this inning. However, one more run is plated thanks to the back-to-back doubles by Schwartz and pinch hitter Josh Roulette. The lead once again cut to 1. 7-6 ball, bottom of the 8th inning here at Mulcahy Stadium on your Matsu Miners radio network. The designated hitter Logan Stokely leading things off here in the bottom of the 8th inning for the Anchorage Bucs, who lead it by a score of 7-6 over the Matsu Miners. And we have a defensive change to give you. It is Scooter Bynum in left field, and Garrison Schwartz moves on over to right field for the Miners. Brooks Stotler still in center field. Catcher Josh Roulette pinched hit last inning for right fielder Cam Montgomery. Scooter Bynum then came in as a pinch runner and makes the switch in left field with Garrison Schwartz. As the 2-0 from Vega. Way outside and actually finds the backstop. Count now 3-0. And here comes the 3-0 on Tatum. And 4 straight balls there. So the dreaded leadoff walk.
And this is an inning where the Miners definitely do not want to give up any runs. They keep finding a way to score 1 run, trying to claw their way back into this one, but you know, this has to be a stop inning. Can't allow them to score another one because it would be a huge insurance run for the Bucs.
Especially with the 9th inning coming our way. You only have one more inning to work with if you want to tie this ball game up or take the lead. Alan Trejo up at the dish now. Andy Cosgrove is going to jog on out, have a little conversation with Carlos Vega. Flew out in the first, flew out in the second, reached on an air and scored in the 4th, and then reached via base on balls in the 5th inning. And there's the pitch. Cosgrove trying to pick Stokely off there at first, but no cigar. So another throw over there by Vega. But back in safely via the slide is Stokely. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 1-1 the count on leadoff man Alan Trejo, who swings, grounds it over to Lee. He throws it over to second for the out. And look at that. It's a double play. Wow, that was close. At second and first.
Yeah, it was. I thought that Logan Stolke would have beat it out at second base, so I thought it was a little risky for AJ Lee to go that way, but the call goes in the favor of the Miners, and they'll definitely take that as, they go around the horn for the 5-4-3 double play. A pitcher's best friend, as we like to call it.
Second baseman LJ Hash at the plate now, and he sees strike 1. All right, boys. It's nice to see no Bucs on the base paths. The 0-1 from Vega. Popped up in the infield. Josh Bissonette, the shortstop, is underneath it. Makes the catch, and that is the 3rd out of the inning. So now we head to the top of the 9th. The Miners need 1 to tie, 2 to take the lead. Heart of the lineup, Scudder, Donadio, and Bissonette coming up for the boys on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Three, 4, and 5 hitters due up here in the top of the 9th inning for the Matsu Miners, who trail it by a score of 7-6 to the Anchorage Bucs. Chris Rivera on now, trying to pick up the save. It would be a 1 and a third innings save if he were to pick it up. But if the heart of the lineup for the Miners has anything to say about that, that won't be the case. So it'd actually be a blown save if they have something to say about it. The 0-1 pitch to Scudder. Catches the outside part of the plate. Strike 2. 0-2 the count now on the Scud man.
And Rivera did a great job to make a great pitch to Levi Jordan. It was a breaking ball that caught Jordan. Pop it up to the catcher. That was to get them out of the jam with runners on first and second base. So good job by him. He's out here now with a clean slate, if you will. But the Miners definitely want to get a run here. Maybe 2 or 3.
The 0-2 to Scudder outside. They have put up at least 1 run in 4 of the first 8 innings here today at Mulcahy. They could score runs against these Bucs. First game 7, second game 8. This game so far 6. Is that one? Whew, fouled off by Jake Scudder.
The Miners would really love for Jake Scudder to reach base here in any way, shape, or form. You saw how the inning began last inning with Gerson. It was Gerson Schwartz with that double, right? Yeah. Who led it off with the leadoff double, and then right after Josh Roulette pinch hit and scored him with a double. So that just shows you how important it is to get your leadoff man aboard. And for that, it gives you a little bit more room for error instead of trying to claw your way back with, 2 outs.
As that one just fouled back, so Scudder stays alive at the plate, 1-2. Yeah, it would be a good feeling with no outs to see that tying run reach base, especially when you have the likes of Donadio, Bissonette, and Schwartz, the next 3 hitters who would be due up. Here's the 1-2 to Scudder. Swung on, fouled away again. Ben Taylor does his best infielding impression, vacuums it up, tosses it on over toward the Bucs dugout. Bucs manning the third base dugout. Miners manning the first base dugout. When they come here and face the Pilots, they have to switch on over, the Miners do, to the third base dugout, which is where the Miners are. This one grounded towards second. Hatch is going to come up with it, makes the throw to Reynolds for out number 1.
Jake Scudder a little bit frustrated with that kind of swing or something. He was a little late getting out of the batter's box, but he chucked his bat a little bit too hard. It actually ended up hitting Michael Donadio in the on deck circle.
So frustrations are brewing here. And of course, why not? It is Bucs versus Miners. In the cleanup man, Michael Donadio at the plate, swing, strike 1.
But obviously Michael Donadio is okay after, getting brushed off his feet.
The 0-1 to Donadio. Outside, 1-1. You need base runners here, at least 1, and then when you get him on, you need him to come around and score. Hopefully even take the lead this ball game.
It's time to put on your rally caps. It's rally in the valley time.
Swing, strike 2. 1-2 the count now on Donadio with 1 out. Miners have 6 runs on 8 hits and 2 errors. Bucs have 7 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. Rivera gets the signs, tosses it on in, swing and a miss, strike 3 for designated hitter Michael Donadio, who goes down swinging for the second time. And it's going to bring up Josh Bissonette, who singled in the first, flew out in the third, and then struck out in both the 5th and 7th inning. He represents the last out for the Bucs, represents the tying run for the Miners. Here's the pitch by Rivera. Catches the outside part of the plate, strike 1. This would be the second victory in as many games for the Bucs. They did drop the very first game against the Miners this season, as this one is grounded toward Bissonette's counterpart. And the throw to first base is a little off the mark. Reynolds went to go apply the tag on a sliding Bissonette, who gets into first base sliding. And you never want to see a base runner sliding into first base, but in that instance, Bissonette had zero chance but to do that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's his only way of getting on first base here, as we're going to get an argument from the Bucs as he's talking over with first base umpire. But anyways, that was a play that was hit to short where he was running away from first base. So he's running in the direction of third base, and he had to cross over. So it was an off-balance throw, and the throw brought up their first baseman,
Cody Reynolds.
Cody Reynolds, thank you, down the line a little bit. So that allowed Josh Bissonette to dive head first in the running lane, that is, and just get on safely. So it's going to be a single for Josh Bissonette, and this brings up Garrison Schwartz, who's done a career today with a double, a walk, and
2 runs scored.
just about everything except a single and a triple.
He also had a fielder's choice RBI, the only time he made it out back in the first inning. So a good day at the plate for Garrison Schwartz. Good man to have up at the plate in a situation like this. It is the 0-1 pitch. High and outside, even the count at 1.
You got to look to see the Miners be a little bit patient in this at bat. They don't really want to swing at anything nasty, because that's the job of Chris Rivera. They want the Miners to swing at a bad pitch. So you just got to be patient and look for that fastball or good pitch like he had right there.
He had it there, fouled it off. So 1-2 the count now on Garrison Schwartz, who started out this afternoon playing left, move over to right. This past top half of the inning, actually. So the Miners down to their last strike. Swung on, fouled away. Garrison Schwartz stays alive at the batter's box. Really like to see Schwartz deliver here, boy. Whew. Would send the Miners fans to their feet here, as there are a few in attendance today at Mulcahy Stadium. The 1-2 again. Outside, ball 2.
Scooter Bynum will be next if Garrison Schwartz shall reach base.
So now Deuces Wald on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rivera about to deliver. Schwartz takes strike 3, and that's the ball game. Garrison Schwartz caught looking to end this, so the Miners will fall to 7-6 on the season, and that puts them in a tie with the Anchorage Bucs, who improved their record to 8-7 on the season. And depending on what the Pilots do tonight here at Mulcahy against the Chinooks, we'll see if they also move up the extra half a game, as they already improved to a half a game. And it could be a 3-way tie if the Pilots win tonight. Regardless if they don't, the Bucs and the Miners still tied for top of those ABL standings. And Jordan, it was just another slugfest here. We saw a slugfest last time at Herman Brothers Field. Unfortunately, the Miners couldn't prevail. Somewhat of the same story here tonight. And similar to that, they came out with the lead. They drew first blood. As you like to say, they were playing from ahead. But unfortunately, the Bucs were able to come on out and do what they did the very last time at Herman Brothers Field, which was to get the comeback win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, this is just one of those games where, the offense is there. The offense is there, and you never know what you're going to get from them. And, the pitching is very reliable. But the last 2 times against the Bucs, the Bucs have actually had our pitchers' numbers, if you want to say that, as they scored 7 here today, and they scored 11 in the last game. And, it's a close game. So this one definitely hurts, as Miners had a 2-run lead heading into the bottom of the 4th inning. And that's where the Bucs did their damage to Gage O'Brien. But the Miners, it's just 1 loss. They're still in first place. And plus, there's still a lot of baseball left to play this season. So they're going to get over this loss in a hurry. The next game is going to be tomorrow against the Chinooks at home. So the boys are going to love this home game at the versus the Chinooks. We're 4-0 versus them this year. So they've done a really good job in just about every single department when they play the Chinooks, whether it's the hits, the runs, the pitching, all of that stuff. So the Miners do fall here by a score of 7-6, and they look to right the ship tomorrow against the Chinooks.
Yeah, that broadcast being tomorrow night, a 7 p.m. start against the Chinooks. Then we'll get an off day on Tuesday before we come back out to Anchorage on Wednesday for what would be the first of 4 straight games against these Anchorage Bucs, who win today by a score of 7-6 over the Matsu Miners. So that's going to wrap up our broadcast here at Mulcahy Stadium. We like to always wrap it up by extending a special thank you to both Pete and Denise Christopher, and for my broadcast partner Jordan Swick, our media guru Josh Grissom. I'm Dan Collins saying I'll catch you on the flip side here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network.